Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I'm going to be doing a kind of circus inspired nail set. As you can see, I've already prepped the nails. I just gave it a light buff and then gave it a base coat, and I used Beetle's base coat and top coat. That's what I started with, so that's what I've been using. I already did prep the nails and added the base colors to all of the nails, and primarily yellow is the base color, even though ultimately in the end you might not see some yellow. I did use the base color yellow. So here I'm just doing a swirl throughout the entire nail, which you will see. I will stop talking and just let you watch. So here I'm adding some magenta over the yellow for a punch of color. I really wanted that pop. And then in a second you'll see me using the gradient brush just to thin out the magenta so the spiral peeks through. I really liked the way that the yellow and the magenta worked together, and it worked really well for this kind of circus theme, mind-bending circus theme. So I apologize. I realize here I'm off of camera, or off of the center of the screen. I didn't have a monitor back then when I filmed this. Thankfully I have a monitor now so I can see exactly where my hands are. So to see, I had to stand up and look at my actual monitor, my camera. But you'll see in newer videos that I'm more centered, so I do apologize about that. And then at the end here, you're going to see just a quick look of the finished nail, minus the top coat. But again, I really like the way the yellow and the magenta look together. This nail is a representation of a Ferris wheel, like a circus Ferris wheel. And so I used just a dotting tool for all of the dots. which are supposed to represent the kind of the bucket seat of the Ferris wheel. And then I alternate colors, as you can see here. And I do multiple layers to give it like a 3D effect. I cured a lot because I did it pretty thick in the end. So you do want to make sure that you cure the nails very well, especially if you're using multiple layers or like thicker globs of it. So you'll see here. I'm starting the line work, basically the spokes of the Ferris wheel here. And I do struggle with line work a little bit, and you'll often see me doing a little bit of correction. I want to be a perfectionist so bad, but I just struggle with line work. I'm a little bit shaky, so you can see me, you can see me shaking here. But fast forward makes it look so much better. But again, you can see those 3D dots just to give it a little effect. I thought it looked kind of playful and fun. And then this is kind of how it ended up looking. So here, this nail is going to be the overhead view of the tent, the circus tent, or the big top. But I'm just doing all of the line work here, and then I do alternate the yellow and magenta to represent the tent. And I did multiple layers just to give it a little bit of texture. So you'll see that in the end. And I will let you watch. So here you can see that I did do the multiple layers to give it that texture. And you can see the texture in the image right there. And then you can also see that the gel went down onto the tack that's holding the tip onto the holder. I use Gorilla tack. I just get it from Home Depot or Amazon. It works pretty well to hold the tip in place. But back then, I've now resolved this issue, but you can see that the gel oozed down onto the tack, which I'll do a finish file at the end to get rid of that before I do the top coat. So now I put the tip onto the holder, and then I will squish it down so it stays firm, and then I will use an X-Acto knife to cut out any excess tack that's oozing off to the sides, and that eliminates that problem from happening. It has saved so much because now I don't have to do a finish file most of the time on that stuff. So live and learn. Okay, so now I'm on this nail that is going to be kind of an argyle effect. I do two different ones. You can see in the background that I had already done the line work for both. On this one, I ultimately didn't do the individual diamonds. I painted over the diamonds to make it the large diamonds instead of the smaller diamonds. Just to give it a different look from the other nail, because the other nail I did do the individual diamonds, but this one I wanted it to be the larger diamonds. So I ultimately just painted over the black, which you can still see through, and I think it still looks kind of cool. So I will let you watch and see the finished product on this one. Well, that one has the larger diamonds. This one will have the smaller diamonds. And this one is supposed to represent the jester to continue the circus theme. And this one is going to be filled in individually with the yellow and magenta. Yeah, enjoy. Here you can see that I did multiple layers as well to give it that texture. I really liked the texture. I thought it looked pretty cool. On this one, I went back to the large diamond one, and this is going to be a top hat to represent the master circus. What is he called? I can't remember what he's called. The master of ceremonies. I don't know what his name is. But it's going to be a top hat. So, and in the end, I really liked the way it turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching and taking the time, and let me know what you guys think of this set. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.